listening to Snoody Podcast.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Snoody Lounge Podcast. And today I got a special guest, and you know how I do it. You know I got to punch my man's in. From the West Coast, don't want to brag or boast. And yesterday I think we had a couple of toasts. But to the Valedictorian, welcome Parker Way to Snoody Lounge Podcast. How you doing, man?
My God, appreciate you having me. This has been a long time coming. We've been talking about this for months and months on end, just getting down, sitting down, and talking sports and just talking life, talking games. So I'm excited to be here. I can't wait to do this.
All right, for sure. So let's go and get right into it. I see the hat. You got the Los Angeles hat, and I was observing social media and saw you had the Mamba kits.
Yep.
Tell me how did the Mamba kits come around?
Yeah, so I've been a Kobe fan like my whole life. That was my my favorite athlete growing up. He was kind of like an inspiration for me, just like that work ethic and that drive just to be great was something that I always resonated with when I was an athlete growing up. And as I got older, the Mamba mentality took on a different perspective of like how it incorporates to life and how, you can, a lot of those things like you can translate into life and not just sports. And so I started to take on that mentality. And when Kobe died, it was just like a really, really rough time for me. And, it was my brother's birthday. One of my best friends was, up in a helicopter flying. So it was just a rough day. And then COVID hit right after that. But, I had these Lakers Converse that I bought a while ago. And I was thinking about, just doing some fun stuff with them because I wanted to deck them out or whatever. And then when Kobe died, I found this guy on Instagram, So Aloha, shout out.
Shout out, bro.
He makes his own patches and everything from Cali and everything. And I hit him up and I was like, yo, can I get some of these? And I told him kind of what I wanted. I had some jerseys on there. I had just some other stuff, and I wanted to just do something to remember Kobe with. And I'm a big, shoe fan. I got 40, 50 pairs of shoes at home, but none mean more to me than that pair. Just I don't wear them a bunch, but just the meaning of the shoe and kind of what they mean to me and what Kobe means to me is just kind of it's kind of everything. It's just my Mamba Day kicks. I wear them every 8/24, and they're special to me because I spend a lot of money on them, but it's more the sentimental value every time I look down on them. It's just Kobe just means so much to me, and he's impacted my life in so many amazing ways.
That's what's up. I'm a Mamba fan myself. When I was stationed in Germany, had a poster of all models and Kobe Bryant on the left side. I swear to God, when I was stationed in Germany. But what is your fondest memory of Kobe?
Ooh, fondest memory? The 2010 championship means a whole lot to me because it was against Boston 2 years before. It hurts being a Kobe fan because if we beat Austin, if the Lakers beat Boston in 2008, he has 2 3-peats.
Yep.
But the one in 2010 stands out a lot just because he struggled in that game, but the way he dogged it out, just rebounded the basketball, made some big shots at the end. But the pass to our test just showed that he had grown so much about being a teammate and trusting his teammates. But the 60-point game is tough not to say because I know that was my senior year in high school. I remember recording the game overnight. I went to bed early because I just didn't want to be on. I wanted to watch it in Zen.
Right.
And so I couldn't do that with everybody else yelling. So I went to bed early. I recorded it. And I woke up the next morning and I just cried the whole morning because you just couldn't believe the start. He just couldn't make a shot. And then he just starts going crazy. And you're like, is Kobe really going to do something tonight? And then he gets 60. Just something that we'll never see again. I know he didn't go out on the chip, but, he gave everything to the game up into even his last game. So, I love that man. And the 60-point game, obviously 81 means a whole lot. The D Wade shot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of those little memories. And then just, one that probably nobody remembers, the pass to Powell in the Magic finals when Powell made it with his left and stuff. And they talked about it in the locker room. Just little stuff like that. I love how he looked at the game. I loved how he approached it. So 60 is probably just the one that pops in my head right away because that game was emotional in so many aspects.
It really was. I remember that game. I think he shot 50 shots.
Yeah.
A bunch of shots. But I know you're from Vegas, the land where they gamble. And, I like to play a couple roulette games myself. How was it for you growing up in Vegas as a kid?
So, it's a lot just where everybody else grows up. You're a kid, you don't really know that much. But a lot, our fun was really in hotels and stuff like that. The bowling alley was in the hotels, the arcade was in the hotels, the movie theaters were in the hotels. But man, having an older brother and a younger brother, we played sports every single day. That was my life. We would go to school and we would play sports every single day afterwards. All summer long, it was just sports. I was a big baseball kid when I was growing up in Vegas, loved playing basketball when the season came around. But man, me and my brothers just used to run amok and just play sports all the time. I used to ride my bike outside all the time. What we used to do as kids, you know what I mean? We didn't really have, we had video games, but it wasn't we were really into video games.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to be outside. I'm trying to hoop. I'm trying to, play wiffle ball, whatever it was. So, I mean, growing up in Vegas was just like anybody else. Obviously, you do see the bright lights and the glitz and the glamour, and you're kind of just like, this is not like where everybody else grows up. I know it's not like where everybody else grows up. But I mean, my parents did a good job of like sheltering us from some of that other stuff. But yeah, I remember when somebody jumped on top of the one of the Vegas hotels with a motorcycle on New Year's, like that, like little stuff like that. You just go like, this ain't like everybody.
Backstory.
My dad just took us to the strip one night, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he jumped on top of one of the highest hotels in Vegas with a dirt bike, and then came back down and shattered his wrist when he came down, but he landed it.
Holy crap!
I remember that. That was crazy. But just little stuff like that growing up in Vegas. But man, like that's where my love of sports came from, because like there wasn't really like anything else. Like I just wanted to play sports every day.
For sure. I was observing on IG on January 10th, 2013. You got a picture with Landon Donavan, and you're wearing a Lakers jersey. So it's just fitting that you just Lakers through and through.
100%.
What was
that game? I'll tell you the story. That game. So that was my first ever Lakers game.
Oh my goodness gracious!
That was my Christmas gift from my mom, and they played the Thunder that day when they still had Russ, Ibaka, Harden, and KD. The Lakers lost that game, but like I still remember just being like, I just saw four dudes that I love, and Kobe, Gasol, Derek was still on the team, Shannon Brown was still on the team, like all these young Lakers and all this, like all the Lakers players. But that was my first ever Lakers game, and we got there super early. Like my mom did the whole LA experience, took me on the train, like we did that whole thing. We stopped and got dank food down in LA, but we were just there super early, and Landon happened to be there. I was a big soccer fan at the time. He was playing for the Galaxy, and I was just like, kind of like we were taking pictures of him, and then he just came over. Super nice. Just we didn't even ask him to come over. He just came over, and he said what's up, and I dapped him up and everything, and we got a picture, and he signed like a little thing for me in my Lakers handbook or whatever. But he knew I was like a big fan, and I told him I had watched him play a bunch of times, and then the best part of the story is after he left, some kid behind me just goes, "Was that Cristiano Ronaldo?"
Holy crap!
And I was like, "Nah, bro. Like that was Landon Donavan. Like, and he was like the best American player in the world at that time. So that was really cool. That kind of grew my love for soccer, and little stuff like that just makes you love sports like even more, because like when the athletes are accessible to you, you're just like, damn, like they're just like me. They're just a human. They're just a person. They just happen to be damn good at whatever they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. What are some other celebrities who you are in Vegas? So what are some other celebrities who you met? Just when you were growing up.
We go to Summer League every year. That was really fun. Summer League, like when like Summer League wasn't as like big on social media, like when all like they'd close it down for Braun to pull up or whatever. Like it wasn't really like that when I was going. So like you would just meet like in the hallway. You would just see people, and I was young. So like I met Russ when he was coming out of UCLA. My little brother met like J.R. Smith, Darren Collison. Just like I don't remember all of them, but you just see people and you're just kind of like, this is not normal. Like there's just hoopers everywhere, and you're a little kid. But my favorite one was meeting Russ for sure, because I was a huge UCLA fan and he was coming out, and I was just like, no way, like that's Russell Westbrook. And so he was super nice, gave me his autograph, took a picture with me and all that stuff. So I miss going to Summer League as a kid. That was the best, like, because Vegas we didn't have pro sports, so like that was it for me. Like when Summer League would roll on and be like, yo, it's Summer League time. Like I'm gonna be at the gym for 8 hours today, back and forth, gym to gym, just watching people hoop. And I think 08 was the first time I really remember, because that was when Russ and Love and all them were coming out and playing. So I miss the Summer League days. But now it's kind of just like a little overhyped, and there's so many celebrities that want to go, and the guys want to sit courtside. It's just like, bro, like we're just here to watch the young kids hoop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I do miss the Summer League times.
Yeah. In 08, what was I doing? I think I just graduated high school or something like that. But speaking of hooping, and I know you're a hooper yourself, how was it hooping for you when you was in school? Like I know you was an athlete.
Yeah, so I played, I mean, when I moved to Cali, I didn't play basketball. I played club soccer for like 3 years. And then in 8th grade, I kind of just looked at my mom and I was like, yo, I'm trying to hoop again. Like, what are we doing? Put me on a club team. And so my mom put me on the club team. I was the JV point guard as a freshman, then quit my sophomore year to go play varsity soccer. And then I just was like, yo, I miss the gym atmosphere of just like playing in big games and just like locking somebody down, blocking shots, making them bucket in a tough situation. And so I played junior and senior year, and that was a lot of fun. Like my senior year, we were number 4 in the county at one point, and so we were like damn good. And we ended up losing the second round of the playoffs. But I loved hooping. I wasn't an offensive player. My game was always get people involved. I love passing and locking up the best player in the other team. Like that was my role. And I'd have to hustle anybody on the floor. I mean, I was first to the floor. I was diving on everything. I was just a grit guy. Like a lot of what, like I love watching Alex Caruso play because like he's a great offensive player. Don't get me wrong, but like the way he competes defensively, the way he gets people involved, attacks the rim, like that was my game. You know, floaters, attacking the rim.
Oh yeah.
You know, I had a super high inch vertical in high school from playing volleyball, so like I could get up and go get boards and go attack people at the rim, and so. You know, I do miss being that athletic. That's for damn sure.
Simple question right quick. Would you rather dunk on somebody or would you rather spike the ball, pow, right in somebody's face?
For volleyball?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm postering somebody every day of the week. Like that's not like that was my dream. Like the reason I wanted to play basketball was because I wanted to put back jam over somebody. Like I just wanted to hit my head. Like yeah, I got you. But I pinned somebody once. That was sick. But no, I'd definitely pick postering somebody.
I don't blame you. I always wanted to post somebody myself, but I guess I got to have a good float game. I know your path to Full Sail was a bit different. What was your path getting here?
Yeah, I mean, I was I say this all the time. I was a sports addict from the time I was like 4 or 5 years old. My dad introduced me to sports when I was super young, and there was just an innate connection with just competing and like the athletics of it, and just like I don't know what it was. I just loved it from the day I was 4 or 5 years old, and so. I loved it my whole life, and I was a really good athlete. I always thought I was going to go D1. That was kind of my dream. I just wanted to play Division I sports and get an education. And then as I got older, I was like, ain't no way I'm going to school, bro. Like, there's no way, dog. Like, because I just didn't love school enough, but I loved athletics. And so, after high school, I played 1 year of community college volleyball, and the school aspect just wasn't going to work for me. And so I quit. I quit playing sports, and I just started working full time. I worked 2 jobs, and I dealt with some pretty serious mental health issues and stuff like that. That I don't want to say set me back, but it like led me down a path of like really like finding myself and like finding like happiness and what that actually means, not just like finding it from other people and your homies and your family and like what I really wanted to do with my life. And so I moved out when I was 21 and lived with my 2 best friends. And my dad had always told me about this school when it first opened up. He's like, I know you don't want to go back to school, but if you ever do, this is, I think, the path for you. And I used to tell people all the time, if I could just go to school and learn about sports every day, like I'd be the best in the school. Like nobody could compete with me. And so I always wanted to see if that was actually true. COVID hits, and I just didn't feel like I could waste any more time.
Right.
I just was like, man, like you just never know, like when that opportunity is just going to be done and gone. And so pretty much for 2.5 years, I saved up all my money. I was bartending. I didn't even have a car, so I was saving money doing that, riding my bike to work, and saved up like $19,000 and drove from Cali to Florida to pursue this dream, and it was by far the best decision I ever made. I mean, meeting people like you and all the homies I met here, but I mean, this business is exactly what I dreamed it would be, and as challenging as I thought it would be, and as rewarding as I know it can be. And so I'm so excited that I made this decision, changed my life forever. I've always wanted to be paid to talk about sports, and I've always wanted to travel to every stadium, and now I want to get paid to travel to every stadium. And just the inspiration I can draw from athletes and friends and people that have gone through tough situations but never, let it hold them down or keep them from doing what they want to do with their life. I think that's super important. Like no matter where you are at what stage of your life, you're down, you're up. Like there's always a next journey. There's always a next step that you can go. There's always a level you can get to. And this school has helped me reach a different type of level in my life and a different type of, joy from just doing this stuff every day and, seeing my friends succeed and seeing everybody else come up behind me and in front of me. And so I'm excited, man. I truly feel like this school will, in the next 5 to 10 years, take over the entire business. I truly believe that. What we are taught here, how we are held accountable here, and the level of expectation that is held for us here is the standard that I envisioned it would be, and I was glad that it was, because I was 23 years old coming here. I didn't want to be treated like a high school kid. I wanted to be treated like a professional in the industry, and so that's what they did. And this school is going to take over. I already know it is, because once you leave here, it's like the work just begins, which is the best part. You got the skills, and now you can just go grind.
Yeah, grinding is something that we all love to do. But when was the first time you listened to Dan Patrick?
And this is also where my love of sports comes from. My dad, he never listened to music. It was only sports talk radio. So I grew up pretty much, the 3 people I really remember like growing up listening to, we were in LA, we were in obviously California, Dan Patrick, Petros and Money, and Mason in Ireland. They were like the three main guys that we would listen to on sports talk radio. But I probably listened to Dan for the first time. Shoot, maybe when I was like the earliest I can remember was like 5 or 6 years old. I just like the voice just never goes away. Like you can just always hear it. And I remember him from SportsCenter, and that was when SportsCenter was in like their heydays.
Yep.
So I'd watch ESPN every night, and then whenever we were with my dad, he would always have sports talk radio on. And I never understood like how he found the stations to listen to, but it was the best because they would have conversations about sports, and I'd be like, this is exactly what I envision my life being, just talking to sports for 3 hours a day and getting paid to do it. So yeah, probably when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old, but a lot of my childhood was definitely listening to Dan and other people on the radio, and that was awesome.
For sure. I'm going to scoot it on a little further a little bit. So, we do psychology of play presentation, but I'm going to scoot on to Reddy's class. What was your reaction when you finally got behind the desk and you're actually calling a highlight?
You've watched it so many times on SportsCenter, and then it's your turn, and you're like, what do I say? I call touchdown. Like, is he at the 40 or is he at the 10 right now? Like, I don't know. It was super nerve-wracking, but it was also like I felt like the first step. It was almost like the first, like when you're learning how to play golf for the first time. It's almost like that first time you take a swing and you're learning how to swing a golf club. Like that's what it felt like. It was like, oh, this is just like getting your feet wet in the water. You know what I mean? Like this is like, when you're a diver, you don't start with the 33 feet one. You start with the springboard or whatever. Like that's what it felt like. I was like, but it was like you were jumping into the deep end with no skills, but like with support, and then I can't even watch that now. Like I don't even know who that person is that did that highlight that day. But it is insane to think about where I was then and where you are 18 months later and ready to get a job and totally be in the industry.
What game? I'm just curious. What game did you call for Reddy class?
I think it was Clemson, Ohio State. Yeah, no. It was the Natty. It was LSU Clemson.
Yep, I called the same game.
LSU,
Yep.
Clemson. Because I just knew enough about that team, and I knew enough about Jamar and like Joe and the scoring plays in that game. And I'm not the biggest fan of Clemson, so calling a 49-25 blowout highlight wasn't bad for your first one. But I loved that game. I loved that season. I just thought Burrow was super special that year, and that was honestly like the best option that I could find, best game. Because I didn't want to do a semifinal one. I wanted to do like the biggest game that they had in there. And the NBA Finals game was like super old. It was like Raptors Warriors. I was like, bruh, ain't no way. And so I just chose LSU Clemson National Championship.
In my opinion, one of my favorite attributes that you do is your script writing. Like your writing is on point. And I know in Stanton class, you learn different type of leads and pop culture leads and all the things like that. What was your experience when you finally took broadcast writing?
Yeah, I think that's the foundation of our business. I think that's the foundation of our program is being able to write and being able to like put thoughts into short sentences. And I hadn't gone to school for like 6 years, so I was trying to write like how they taught me in high school, professional long sentences, blah blah blah, whatever it was. But that class changed everything for me because like seeing how he could just flip on a dime and just like whatever you said, he could just actually say what you thought, like what you were trying to say, was incredible. And I still think back of all the stuff Stanton, taught me, like one thought per sentence, write the short sentence, short, concise thoughts. Just that stuff has always stuck with me because it just helps you it just helps your brain kind of just like move, if that makes sense. Like it's just like, all right, I'm done with that thought. Now I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here. And as I got, more and more throughout the program, it was like less when I was doing stand-ups, less about script writing and more about like what thoughts am I trying to get to, you know what I mean? Because like I felt like I could write decently in my head, but I just needed to get to these thoughts, you know what I mean? If my brain could get me to connect these 3 thoughts together and then tag myself out, I was good. But writing is so important. I mean, the best people in our business all write extraordinarily well. And when you get to a certain level, like where Dan is, like the writing just exists in your head pretty much, you know what I'm saying? So, broadcast writing was super important. And Stanton was one of my favorite teachers of all time because I just connected with him so much. I remember staying every day after class for 10, 15 minutes and just asking him anything about sports. Because that's my thing is like everybody that's older than me that like loves sports as much as I do knows more than me because they've been alive for double the amount of time. They've seen more sports with their own 2 eyes. And that's what I think is most important is like watching with your own eyes and having an opinion afterwards, not just like watching highlights or seeing stats and then having an opinion. So like I would ask Stanton a bunch about, like the '86 Mets and like the Giants teams because he's a New York guy, and just like what it was like, working with Dan, and what it was like writing for Dan, and what it was like, producing and being behind the scenes, and stories about him meeting whoever in the bathroom at ESPN. So there was just so much game to be had by the teachers here, and I just wasn't willing to like pass that up.
Yeah, I remember Stanton telling us a story about Neil Everett. Shout out to Neil. Shout out to Neil. But I know further along into the program, you started making your own show, and you kind of had the Vegas element in it. What was the name of the show?
The Vegas element was just like, that was just something I'd always dreamed of. Like, it was still Full Sail Live, and I didn't name it anything special, but the Vegas show was super special to me because, like, growing up as a kid in Vegas, like, I dreamed of one thing, and that was professional sports in the city where I lived. And when the Raiders came, when the Knights came, it was like, it was insane because I was like, it's actually happening. You know what I mean? So we got a hockey team, and they were really good. Then the Aces came, then the Raiders came, and, like, now there's potential talks of, like, an NBA team or whatever. But now that there was actually enough sports in Vegas to, like, do a full show was, like, pretty special for me because, growing up in Vegas, I loved, they used to tell us about the old, V teams and, Jerry Tarkanian and the Running Rebels. And Bishop Gorman was a high school I was supposed to go to if I stayed living in there. And so there was just enough to do a full show, and that was, like, really powerful and meaningful to me because, like, as a kid growing up in Vegas, it was just like, damn, like, I can do my own show about my own hometown and my own city. And so that was really cool, and that was really special for me, for sure.
Well, just curious, just for the audience, what was your record when you was making these shows and making these pits, if you remember?
Oh yeah, the P-Ways Parlay segment.
Yep.
Yeah, that got retired quickly, extremely quickly. 4 weeks, 0 for 4 on the parlays. It felt like they were getting worse every week. I was in my own head. I was texting people for bets. I was trying to call in sharps, and I just couldn't get anything going, dude. I wanted everyone to be a 4-leg parlay, but for those of you watching at home, this is exactly why I don't bet my real money, because I lose it on sports. I like watching sports without losing money. But no, like the P-Ways Parlay segment was really fun because it was just something special that I got to do, and being from Vegas, like, I mean, I love gambling. Yeah. Like, I do, but I just don't love losing my money. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love gambling, but only when I win. So that was a super fun segment, but it did not work out in my favor whatsoever.
I know you got a lot of advice and a lot of helps from a lot of students, teachers, and etc. What is a student who sticks out in your mind that you guys helped each other and you got good advice from?
That's a super good one. Scott Kirk comes to mind.
Scott.
Brandon Daniels, KJ Doyle. Those three guys, like, they just stick out, like, immediately. Obviously, Nico Arciniega, he's my boy. He's my buddy. He's the man. Like, a lot of those people, but I'm talking about the older people that put me on the game. Right. Was like Scott and Brandon and KJ. They just, like, took me aside, and they just told me things that, like, the teachers wouldn't tell. Like, you wouldn't learn for months.
Can you give me an example?
I don't know if I have an exact example, but I remember I was in broadcast writing, and KJ came up to me after my final, and he said, he was just like, yeah, Stinton said, you remind me, or you remind him of me. And that was when KJ was kind of standard, and, really, I looked up to him a lot, and that just kind of gave me so much confidence. And he said, if you need anything throughout the entire program, like, or you need me to give you feedback, like, just whenever, just let me know. And so when I got the job offer here recently, I had those three people all reached out and called me on their own time, and they gave me advice, and they gave me words of encouragement, and I truly appreciate that. And that's what I love about the school is, like, as much as we all are going into the same field and trying to accomplish similar things, and in the sportscasting world, like, it's a family here, and, like, everybody's just trying to look out for each other and put each other on the game and, like, really help each other out. And I just really appreciated that. And Scott took me on one of the shoots. I was his cameraman for a shoot that we did for Chris Burns, who's a graduate that works in Kirksville, Missouri. And that was just like watching him learn, or watching him work, you know what I mean? Seeing how he edited in a day, seeing how he did a stand-up, edited it, and got it all together within, like, a 2-hour, 3-hour window. Like, seeing how he interacted with the people we needed B-roll with, you know what I mean? The connection, the questions he would ask, like, just a professional example. And then Brandon he just set an example for work ethic and just how to put shows together, man. Like, he was so elite at being on camera, and he's still killing it now. He's at Pebble Beach this weekend and stuff like that. So Brandon's always been a person I've looked up to, and just his work is so quality. That's where I'm trying to get my level to be at.
For sure. Hey, salute to all y'all. I'm looking at the camera. Salute to all y'all who helped my dog P-Way, because what y'all did for P-Way, he put me on game. So I appreciate y'all. I know when we do IL hours, you have to either be behind the camera, you got to be in audio, TD, teleprompter. What was your favorite thing to do if you was going to do IL?
I like doing audio because I think it's such a big responsibility. Like, you can really elevate somebody's show, like if you truly care about the music you're choosing for them, and like really making sure their thoughts are in on time, making sure their voice, is level. TD was fun because it is a pressure situation. Like, you got to make sure you dissolve right. You got to make sure you wipe correctly and hit the same shots. But I think every aspect of the control room is so important because, like, I'm an athlete, man. Like, it takes a team to win. And I think it takes a team, especially in our business, to put together a great show. And I don't take any of those positions for granted because, like, the higher level your shows go, like, the more elite your camera person has to be. Like, he's got to move in the middle, like, of the show and different stuff like that. So every aspect is super important. I like doing audio just because it gave me a little bit of, like, creative control on music and different stuff like that. But it also, like, I wanted to make sure that everybody who was doing a show when I was in audio, like, had the same level of expectation that I had and stuff like that. So I'm trying to help out whenever I can.
I'm so glad you picked audio because I wanted you kind of led me into my next question. So for the people who don't know, I'm going to have P-Way explain to you. What all goes into the audio room? What all you have to do?
You gotta obviously mic check the talent when they're up there and making sure their audio levels are good, making sure they're talking to their microphone good enough. But you also have to mic them up and put their IFB on them, which is super important, like just making sure they're comfortable with where their microphone is, how their IFB's in there. At the end of the day, like, it's their show, they're on the camera. We don't have to look bad on camera if something goes wrong. And then you got to choose music, so if there's a basketball highlight, if there's a hockey story, if there's a soccer story, you find different music that suits and fits that kind of, that style that you're trying to, or just it fits that sport, it complements that sport well. And then making sure, like, the nat sound. So, in that basketball game, you still want to be able to hear Mike Breen say bang at a small level, even if you're doing a highlight, calling the highlight. You still want to hear that because the nat sound just brings you into the game. You know what I mean? Kind of makes you feel like you're in the atmosphere and different stuff like that. So, and just making sure you're staying prepared. When sound on tape comes up, you're already prepared and you unmute that and you mute them. So if they need to talk to the director or producer, they can do that. So you really just are making sure they don't look bad and you're complimenting everything they're saying with sound of natural sound or whether it's music and stuff like that.
Hey, everyone, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to Snoody Lounge Podcast. I got the Valedictorian P-Way in here, but I'm going to go ahead and get to some more different questions per se. I want to go back to the studio. You sitting behind the desk. What was the most memorable show that you did?
This one sticks out to me just because of the result of what happened in the event afterwards. I think it was in Radcliffe's class PP6. I did a UFC show. I was previewing UFC 2. I can't remember. It was 279 or no. It was the one it was the return to Miami. I know that for sure. Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira, Masvidal versus Gilbert Burns. But I'm such a big Israel Adesanya fan that I love doing anything MMA is going to be my favorite show for sure. I just love the UFC. And I remember doing a story and prepping that story and writing that story and just being like, I have to take my bias out of this, but how do I write to this soundbite of Izzy? Just saying, like, this is my Eminem moment. What if I butcher him and like all this stuff? And then he delivered and he knocked him out in the second round and all that stuff. So, I mean, I just love the inspiration that I can draw from a story like that. He's been beaten 3 times by the same guy and then comes back and knocks him out. Like, that was incredible. I mean, the shows I did with other people as well, like the show I did with Nico was a lot of fun. The All Vegas show really meant a lot to me as well, for sure. But any chance I got to do, there was one I did. It was before I was in PP6. I was with helping somebody out on a show, and I called a UFC highlight when Dan was in the studio, and he gave me great feedback and said I did a really good job, and so that show sticks out for sure as well.
I remember when I was with you and Gabe, and we went down to the jungle and we did an interview with a fighter. And I remember I got kind of sentimental from that interview. What was that experience like when you did that interview with him?
It's motivating because, man, those guys, that training that sport is not easy, and they all have a real life. But I want to be in the fight game so bad. I want to be involved with the UFC so bad that's like a taste of what I want to do, on a more elaborate level. But seeing these guys come up on the grind is just like inspiring, man. Like, this guy's got a real life and a real job, but he's 29 years old chasing his dreams still, just like me. You know what I'm saying? It just happens to be in one of the most violent sports in the world. So that was a lot of fun. I love talking to Alec. He was really cool and really opened up well. And just hearing about martial arts, learning more about martial arts is just something that I'm always trying to do. But interviewing people's fun, man. Like, learning about their story and connecting with them and just giving them a platform to like inspire other people is really special to me. And I love that day. And Gabe setting that up and us going to the jungle is super fun, because you think an MMA gym has like a lot of hard heads and people with big personalities. It's like most of the nicest people in the world.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They just love the martial arts and what the martial arts stand for, discipline and respect and all those things just really impacts them as a person. And I thought Alec exemplified that pretty well.
I was glad to be a part of that teamwork because I was sitting on my butt holding the mic up so he could get it right. I love that teamwork right there. But the last month in the program, you get the Rishi's class, and it's the last month. What was going through your mind when it's the last month I'm actually at Full Sail University as a student?
It's hard to even imagine you're at the last month, because like you just finished the last class like 2 days before that, and then you just start the last month. You're like, bro, I got like 4 weeks left. But I had worked with Rishi on a plethora of different things throughout the program. We did the Pop Warner show together. I had helped on 4 or 5 of his finals, being an analyst for different people, and so I knew Rishi was gonna have a super high level expectation for me. And he held me to that standard from the first day until the last day, and he challenged me every single day. Like, he never let me take a day off, or never let me, do a take that wasn't my best. He pushed me to a level that I didn't know I was going to get to. I thought I was already at a really solid level, and then Rishi put me at an even higher level. I just think he's an elevator. He's he knows what he's looking at, and he knows how to help you, and he knows how to give you confidence as well as giving you feedback at the same time. So I was so excited to start that class and grind every day in the studio and learn from a guy like Rishi, who's been in our business for so long. And so that was an incredible month. Like, that was truly an incredible month. And Rishi's, one of the best guys that I know, and is really helped me.
Real quick, I want to say thank you, Rishi, because he looked at my contract. When I got my contract from CBS 44, he didn't know me from the can of paint. And I walked up to him, asked him for help looking at my contract, and he looked through it and gave me some big help. But how did he elevate you? Because I know you said previously, like, you felt he was at a level, and he got you even up through there. How did he elevate you?
Yep. So just little things like writing, like taking my writing to an even another level. How to inflecting and how to inflect in certain situations, like, and where to inflect. Those were really big, impactful things. And then just like my confidence and presence on camera and stuff like that. And then my highlights. He took my highlights to a whole nother level again, which was really cool. It's the nuanced things. It's the little things that like you don't see, but somebody who's been in the business for 15 years sees every day. And so he would see these little things that I didn't notice, but then I'd watch him back and be like, damn, Mike, if I clean that up, like we're going even higher. And so that was really fun. And he's just so supportive about, what you're good at. And he's like, dude, you can even do this. Like, he even gives you like ideas. He's like, but what if you did it like this? And you're like, damn, like that's a good idea. You know what I mean? And he's just trying to always elevate you and push you even more out of your comfort zone, because he knows you're good enough. You know what I mean?
I know I didn't talk about rundown creators, TRTs, and things like that, but I want you to expand on those things. You don't have to go into like super duper detail, because that'd be a whole 4-hour class. But what is I'm just asking like this because I don't want to do a closed-ended question. What is a rundown creator, and how do you run it? And I just did a double barrel.
The rundown creators is like the show layout, software that we use. You put your entire show together in there, you put your scripts in there, you put your roll commands, you put your what shots you're using and different stuff like that. I mean, it's how a show is built. You can't do a TV show without rundown creator or something similar to rundown creator. So I mean, putting those together is like super important, because it helps you produce your shows in a way. But rundown is not a hard thing to learn once you start making enough
Right.
shows.
So I'm just gonna give you this scenario right quick. It's the last month in the program. You seen us a day. I think you seen us maybe a week before or a couple days before, and it's your last show for the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. What was going through your mind when you're walking to behind the desk and it's the last time? Like, this is a sign-out show.
Man, it was hard to keep my emotions in check because I was so excited to do my show because I know I'd put a banger of a show together. But I was also just like, damn, like I've watched a lot of people do their last show. I can't believe like it's my turn. It was fun. It was emotional for sure. But it was special. I mean, like I put in the work and like at that point you're ready. You're like, man, I can get paid to do this stuff now. Like this is cool doing my last show here, but like I'm ready to go get paid to make these shows. So it was really special. I'll never forget that day and just giving away the jacket to Tyreek and saying thank you to my friends and family and everybody that helped me out. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
That was so dope. I got a question I want to get to, but I want to ask this one before. You had an interesting bunch of classmates.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan, Malcolm. I don't want to act like I remember everybody's name, but shout out to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Don't beat me up when you see me now. What was the experience with the classmates? Different batch of guys. Jake.
I think
Yeah.
there's something you can learn from everybody. Everybody's got a different skill set. Everybody's got a different outlook on how they approach things. I learned something from everybody and took something away from everybody. I can't say like I was super close with everybody or anything like that, but I think it's important to have teammates don't hang out outside of the court, but like
right.
when it's on the floor, it's about one common goal. And I felt like our class had one common goal, and that was getting better every day and reaching a new level. And I really appreciate those guys. They were super supportive, throughout the program and a good. They provided a lot of like laughter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Keep it lighthearted and stuff like that. So I always appreciated that. And like every one of them, I could have a conversation about a different sport with. If I wanted to talk football, I'd go, talk to Jake. If I wanted to talk basketball, I'd talk to, Malcolm or Ethan or Rick or anybody like that. And, if I wanted to talk soccer, I'd talk to Rick. If I wanted to talk football or MMA, I'm talking to Ethan. So it was a good outlet for me for sure. And, I hope I helped them, in some way, shape, or form as well because they, certainly helped get me through some tough days or days that I just didn't want to be at class.
Remember when I walked in y'all last show, I sat in there for 2 hours and I heard all of y'all give those speeches one by one, but you batted last.
Yep.
You batted last and you gave a speech. And just real quick, I started to record, but the speech was just so legendary that I had to just let my man rock. What was the speech?
Yeah, it was a super emotional, time or just a speech. I wasn't planning on getting that emotional, but I think oftentimes throughout the 20 months or whatever, people would see like a super outwardly confident person, but like, man, we all struggle inside with confidence issues. And, a lot of people didn't really know my story and kind of where I came from and the struggles of just some things I put myself through, some bad decisions and having to recover from those and dealing with the mental health issues and stuff like that. I thought it was important for a lot of the people in the building to see like, hey man, like just because I'm really good at this or because I'm super confident in myself, like doesn't mean like I didn't struggle like mightily to get here, and like this moment doesn't mean like a whole lot to me. And so I wasn't planning on getting emotional. I did get motivational at the end. I challenged people, which is important to me. I think whenever you think you've reached like a level that like you can never be satisfied, you always have to be looking for that next level and looking to get better each day. And I wanted to just let everybody know like, hey, like you guys may all think this, that, or the other, but like I promise you, like I love this like every day and I'm willing to work for it every single day. And I thought it was important for people to see like, man, he doesn't just do it in class, like he's really trying to live this life. And I wanted to let them know like, hey, like that's how hard you're gonna have to be willing to work if you're gonna compete in the industry, because like there's people like me all over the place. There's people like you that are older. We don't got another option. Like this is it. Like we're in it. We're in it to be in it. You know what I mean? We're not going back. So it was just important to me for them to see just a different side and know that like we're all human, man. Like I'm not some robot that just has a mustache and doesn't talk to the people that I don't like. Like when I'm in the studio, I'm focused on one thing, and that's having a fantastic show and performing at my highest level, and also making sure that everybody else is comfortable. And it's not really my job to worry about how other people are perceiving me, because if you want to have a conversation with me, I promise you I'll have a conversation with you. But if you're not going to speak to me and then you're going to make an opinion about me, like, I don't really do that. That ain't how I roll. But I just thought it was important for a lot of those kids to just see just a different side of me.
I really appreciate you sharing that side of you, because I mean, a lot of people know you do so well. A lot of people just see the confident side of you, and as a soldier with PTSD who has mental health issues of himself, bro, like, that speech really resonated with me myself, and I'm glad I got a picture with you that I'm definitely gonna put in the B-roll. But the big day comes around, you put on the gown, you put on everything, and you walk across the stage. And I remember you did something very memorable when you went across the stage. What did you do when you walked across the stage?
Yeah, just hit him with a huge flex, 2-time flex. I just that was a lot for me, but also like for a lot of people back home that kind of just know what this moment means to me, and how proud I was of myself. But I was the last person in the entire ceremony to get announced, so in some ways, like, being such a big fight fan, like, that almost felt like the main event was walking across the stage, and just like, man, it just felt so good to just flex and just be like, like, I did that, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like you've been grinding the gym for like 20 months, and you finally look in the mirror one day, and you're like, damn, I'm looking good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it felt like, But I just had to flex, because like that was the emotion that I could, it was just raw, man. Like, that was just so much passion that was coming out of me, and I had my family in the crowd and just kind of flexing for them, and giving the fist pump. Just, man, that moment was just super, super special for me.
How was it spending time with your family as a graduate?
Man, as a kid, not as a kid, but in high school, as a 16, 17-year-old kid, like, I always told myself, like, I'd never graduate college. I'm never going to school and all that stuff. And so to graduate the day before my 25th birthday was just truly a special moment for me, like, being able to celebrate with my family, and just, hearing compliments has never been like the easiest thing for me, but that day it was, for some reason, because I was like, man, I did that. Like,
you earned it.
Exactly. And there was nobody else that could take, and there's nobody that could ever take that away from me, No matter what happens to my life, like, I'll always be able to say to myself that I graduated college, and that means a whole lot to me, because I graduated high school with a 2.2 GPA, man. I was academically ineligible to play sports as a sophomore, and then to, come here and, graduate with almost a 3.9 GPA in valedictorian was just crazy, and just really special, because the valedictorian meant a lot to me, because there could be 5 people in my class, there could be 100. It didn't matter. Like, that was for me, you know what I mean? Like,
hell yeah.
To myself, that if I wanted to work hard in school, like, I could, and I could achieve greatness in school, and I proved that to myself. And like I said before, like, if I could just go to a sports school, like, I promise you I'd be the best. And that was nice to me to, like, live up to that expectation for myself. But man, I grinded for 20 months. I deserved that, and I was super proud of myself.
Before I get a little bit further into the future, I'm gonna back up into the school a little bit. What was your experience when you met Dan Patrick?
First time I met him, I was super nervous, because I had listened to him my whole life,
right.
And I just wanted to tell him, like, just thank you, and for making the school, and thank you for, me and my dad have bonded over, listening to Dan for so many years, and stuff like that. It's been incredible. But the second time I met him was when I read the highlight in front of him in the studio, and when he gave me sick feedback and I did really good, and he's like, that's how you show energy when you do a highlight, like, man, that changed everything for me and my confidence, because I was like, dude, I knew I could do this. Like, I knew I could do this. And just, like, having Rishi tell you in your ear 10 seconds before you go live, oh, by the way, the big man's in here. It's just like, well, I'm either fight or flight right now.
Right.
And I wasn't stepping out of that cage, I'll tell you that much. Then after a couple other times I met him, it's been more comfortable. I did a feedback with him, and he gave me great feedback on my highlights, on my, writing, and just how to just go to an even another level. It's nice when they're nitpicking your stuff, because that means you've built a great foundation for yourself. But now the next step is just going to the next level with nuances, little things, inflection, catchphrases, how you staying in the right verbiage tense, just little things like that. And so now it's pretty comfortable when I talk to him, and listening to his show is pretty funny, because I've met him so many times now. But he's a big inspiration for me because of, like, just how hard he works and how much he loves sports, man.
Really quickly, what's your catchphrase?
Man, I don't really have a catchphrase. I just, everybody that knows me knows that, whenever I dap you up and say bye, it's always much love, man. Like, that's that's what I'm about. I think this world has so much damn hate and so much damn negativity that like the only thing that truly brings people together in this world, like truthfully, is love, man. Like everybody can connect over that, man. Like and I think the world needs more of it. And I just try to express that to all my homies and all my friends, because, you know, no matter if you're, you know, one of my best friends that's a guy or a girl, like I'm gonna tell you I love you. If I do, I do. You know, I mean, I don't have friends, I just have family, and I truly mean that, because you know, family's forever, and friends hang out every once in a while. And so that, you know, much love is always, you know, kind of been my catchphrase.
I was about to say that's what I think your catchphrase is. We're not friends with family. You told me that so many times, and I believe that to my heart.
And that's real, because you know, when your friends show you, when your friends act and treat you like family, then that's what they are. You know what I mean? And I like to think that people that get close to me truly know me, and I've connected with them, and I trust them, and that means they're family. Because friends are fine, like, you know, you hang out every once in a while and you connect, but man, when you got family, it's a deeper level of connection and love, and willingness to do something to help a homie, or just be there for somebody. You know what I'm saying?
I know you already received a job offer already in Minnesota, and I want to know. I just want to figure out how I want to word this, and I'm gonna let you get out the door pretty soon. I know you got to hit the golf swings, but what's in future for Parker Way?
Immediately, I'm moving back to Cali for a little bit, just because I can save some money and find a job. But man, I came to this school with one goal. I've always, no matter what I do in life, there's always one goal, and this is part of the mama mentality in me. Like, it's to be the best. It's to be the greatest at what I do. I'm not saying I'm going to be better than this person, that person, and be the greatest sportscaster of all time, but you know, I'll be damned if I can't go for the best of my generation, or you know, the best of this sport, or the best of that. You know, if you don't set goals for yourself that are higher than anybody else thinks are attainable, then you know, what are you striving for? Because if you shoot for the greatest of all time, like, then what's right below that? Like,
Right.
you're in the top 5, you're in the, like, you're on the list. You know what I'm saying? So the future for me, hopefully, is I want to do play-by-play. That's my love. That's my passion. There's an energy about being in the building, just being in the atmosphere, man. Like when somebody makes a big shot, like I called a couple Rollins games this year, and somebody dropped 49, some kid dropped 38 and forced OT. Like those moments are just like, damn, like I miss being in a gym. I miss being in that atmosphere. I'm getting chills thinking about it right now. Just like watching people perform, man. Like that is what I feel like I'm destined to do, is call games. But right now, man, it's just get my foot in the door. I'm never afraid of hard work. I've never been afraid of hard work. I've never been afraid of proving myself, because that's what I've had to do my whole life. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid of any of that. And hopefully it's, you know, getting into a market that I really like, and covering sports that I really enjoy, and then working my way up through the play-by-play industry. And the goal in life is to call the biggest fights in the world.
Yep.
Biggest fights in the world for the UFC. If not, I'll be damned if I ain't working for the Lakers or the Chargers.
That is so perfect. It's like you just walking me down to my questions,
Be damned.
and this answer just requires a number. Number 8 Kobe, or number 24 Kobe?
24 is probably more my generation of Kobe, but Froby was a damn fool. Like, that man was so athletic. 3 championships by the time he was, 24, I believe.
Yep.
But when he went to 24, that felt like the shift of the Kobe that we saw in the second half of his life. The one that, like, was a killer, but, like, still had that love and, like, in him and stuff like that. But, man, when he turned to 24, like, it felt like the league, and everybody else was just like, oh, this is danger. Because, like, when he went to 24, it was like, oh, he's not going for MJ. Like, he's trying to be one better than MJ in everything. He wore 10 on the Olympics. That was not a surprise. MJ wore 9 for Team USA. And when Kobe went to 24, it was just like, oh, okay. There's, like, a switch was just flipped. And I think he won the MVP, like, the next year. And then they went to 3 straight finals after that. So
my phone is going off, which is very rude. You get hit up later. But
I go 24, but I'm fine. Like, Froby and the Black Mamba, it's like, there's 2 Hall of Fames right there.
Right, it is. And you ain't got to go too long and too depth into this question, but when did you start the mustache?
It used to be like really short. I used to shave it all the time off my face. Probably when I was like probably started when I was 20 maybe, when I started going to the bars and stuff like that, and like wanted to look like I was older than I actually was. But the mustache like it is now in this iteration probably started maybe about 3.5, 4 years ago. I was bartending at a whiskey bar, and I don't know. I just felt like I needed some facial hair to match like the style. Like I wanted to represent it. And then when I started really growing it, my mom hated it like with a passion. So it started to be a spite thing. And then as it grew longer, I was like, maybe I could do something with this. And now this mustache just made for TV, baby.
It is.
It's just made for TV. But I mean, I love it. It's kind of like just part of my personality, and it's just kind of like just something that I love, and it makes me unique. And man, I get a lot of compliments on it. But
Facts.
shit, it's a lot of work to maintain.
Yeah, I remember before we even cut the camera on, you was already combing it before we started it.
In my mouth or on my face or nothing. I'm trying to look good for the camera, but I feel like I'm trying to, like, the mullet's back. I feel like I was on the beginning wave of bringing the mustache back. You know, I was before like the top. You know, somebody asked me if I started growing it after fucking Top Gun Maverick. I was like, no. Why would I ever do that? Right. Like, I was before the game. You know what I'm saying? So, no, it's all good. I mean, I love having the mustache. It probably needs some trimming in every once in a while, but it's part of my brand. It's part of my personality, man. It makes me stick out.
Man, I want to thank Mr. Parker Way for coming on. This was so dope, man. This was P-Way, man, the Mamba enthusiast, just like myself. He was so great here. Like, it's going to be kind of difficult for me and my boys to try to, you know, do what my man's did, but we're going to try to keep the legacy going along. But
I'll say one thing on the way out. Shout out to Snoody. I mean, this guy is one of the realest in the game. I mean, I love this guy. He's family to me. He's going places in this world, and the work ethic that you display is inspiring to me. You know, obviously we're a little bit older than most of the people that we we go to school with, and so, you know, just keep grinding, man. Like, this is inspiring. Just sitting down, being able to talk, shoot shit for an hour, and, you know, be on your podcast and stuff. I mean, we're all going to achieve great things in the world, but everybody check out Snoody Lounge Podcast. This is the spot to be.
Man, come check it out. Thank you, P-Way. Like, we're going to chit-chat more off camera, but, like, I just really appreciate P-Way, man. I love you, bro. You family, we family, and hopefully the Hawks can beat the Lakers this year. Well, I heard him try to cut the camera off.
Much love.
Much love.
Welcome to Snoody Podcast.